Sports Podcast with Peter DiBiasi and John Rocco Trumpbour right here on YouTube. Guys, welcome back to another episode of the Talking Sports Podcast. We really appreciate you guys joining in. And guys, football season is right around the corner, and it's a little closer than right around the corner. So we're going to be dropping a series of episodes that's going to be focused right around the NFL football season. But before we get into that, JR, make sure tell them where to find all our social medias.
Yes, please, guys. Follow us on Instagram at Talking Sports PD and Twitter. We are just recently starting to post our top 15 players at each position. So we just posted our QB list. Look at it, see what we got. We made like a combined list of who me and Peter both kind of agreed on. This is the top 15 players at each position. We're posting our running backs tomorrow, so give us some feedback on those, and please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Almost at 1,000. We'd really appreciate it if we could get the 1,000. That'd be an awesome goal. It's been a goal of me and Pete's. We've been talking about that for a while. So yeah, thank you for the support.
Yeah, guys, this podcast has been going on for almost a year and a half right now, and we're almost at 1,000 subscribers. So if you guys can just drop a subscribe button, that'd be awesome. Also, drop a comment, drop a like, see what you think about our video and future videos. And also, if you want to listen to us on Apple Podcasts, and that's awesome, link will also be in the description. Just search Talking Sports Podcast on Apple Podcasts. But this is why you guys are not here. So when I said in the beginning we're going to be dropping a series of episodes, I meant we're going to be dropping a series of episodes. And it's going to start with this one, and it's going to follow 2 and 3. The first one is going to be our AFC and NFC division predictions. Just the division predictions. So you clicked on this video because it's said in the title, division predictions, and that's what we're going to be giving you. Eventually, we'll be giving you our playoff and Super Bowl predictions in another video, and then we'll conclude it with our NFL awards predictions. So if you love NFL, these 3 videos are just exactly what you guys need. So JR, they're here for one reason. We're going to be starting with the AFC, and particularly we're going to start with the AFC North. JR, who do you have 1 through 4 with their records winning this division?
Yeah, so for the AFC North, this is a very talented division. They have 3 really good teams. I think we can both agree. At number 1, winning the AFC North, I have the Browns going 13-4 and being the number 1 team in the AFC North. At number 2, I have the Steelers at 12-5. At number 3, I have the Ravens at 10-7. And then to cap it off, the Bengals in 4th with 4 wins and 13 losses. I think the Browns here, I think they're the most complete team in this division. Baker hopefully keeps taking those steps forward as that franchise quarterback. He's been doing that so far. And the addition of Odell, I know they performed better without Odell, but Odell's starting to know his role and just focus on football rather than the off the field stuff. And I think he's going to really help this offense. And their defense is already really solid. And with the Steelers, really good team. Hopefully their offense is going to be as good as we hope it is with the new offensive coordinator, and hopefully Big Ben is still Big Ben. And their defense, hopefully it doesn't take steps back from last year. Still got TJ Watt, a potential defensive player of the year there. So I think this is also a good complete team. I do think the Browns are a little better though. And then the Ravens got Lamar Jackson. I got them winning 10 games. I don't think they're better than the Steelers or Browns. I think the fact that hopefully they can start the passing game a little more. Defense is already solid, one of the best defenses in the league, but hopefully their offense could excel in the passing game, and I think that will be big for them. And then the Bengals, Joe Burrow coming off a really bad injury. Hopefully he doesn't take steps backwards and he doesn't get hurt again, because that franchise QB, he looked really good until he got hurt. So hopefully it's not like an RG3 situation or anything like that. But I just don't think their defense is there yet. I don't think they're still a young team in my mind, and I don't see them going anywhere really this season. So 4-13, yeah, that's what I got them.
Yeah, I like those picks. That division, AFC North, is a very interesting division. Obviously, I have a couple little different things, and that's why this makes this video a little interesting. So at number 1, I got the Baltimore Ravens finishing at 13-4. At number 2, I have the Cleveland Browns finishing at 10-7. At number 3, this is gonna be a little surprising pick. Not with the team, but with the record. I have the Pittsburgh Steelers finishing below 500 at 7-10. And then I got the Cincinnati Bengals, like Jared said, rounding out number 4. We agree on that at 6-11. Ravens at number 1. They won the division. They actually did not win the division last year. Excuse me. The Steelers won the division last year. I think the Ravens are the most complete team in the AFC North. Obviously, you can say what you want about Lamar Jackson, but he's a top 10 quarterback. Just look at our rankings. We had him a top 10. He has his struggles passing the ball, but he's a dynamic quarterback. They got J.K. Dobbins running the ball. They added a couple weapons in Rashad Bateman, and they're bringing back Marquise Brown. So the offense is going to be good. You kind of know what you're getting with that offense. And then you're going to go flip side with the defense, and they're a great defense. You got Marcus Peters, you got Marlon Humphrey, the great secondary, can get after the quarterback. And I think the Ravens are a really well-coached team. They've been there. They've done that. And the Ravens are going to finish first, in my opinion. This is the most complete team. Number 2, I got the Cleveland Browns. And I'm not as high as you are on the Browns, even though I had them finishing 10-7. I just don't see the Browns as more complete the Ravens, and I also don't see them have a higher ceiling at quarterback, and I think that's Baker Mayfield. I do think they're super talented on offense. You got Jarvis Landry, you got Odell Beckham Jr., you have Nick Chubb, you got Kareem Hunt, and then on defense, you got Denzel Ward, and you got Myles Garrett, and the list goes on. So the Browns are super good defensively, and that's going to win them a lot of games. But I think what's going to hold them back from being maybe a 12 to a 13-win team is Baker Mayfield, because I don't think I'm not as high as on Baker Mayfield as other teams, other analysts and people. I just don't think he can make enough big enough plays in games for them to win enough games. But the Browns are going in the right direction. I have them finishing at 10-7. Third seed, the Pittsburgh Steelers in that division, finishing at 7-10. I think this is going to be a brutal, brutal year for them. Run game, bringing in Najee Harris is really going to step up the run game. Offensive line's taking a step back. I don't think Chase Claypool has as good as a year as he did his rookie year. Deontay Johnson was good at the end of the year. I don't know if he can duplicate it. Juju Smith-Schuster up and down. And then you have Big Ben Roethlisberger, who I think this is his final year of his career, and I think it's going to be disaster. What keeps the Steelers from not going into a free-fall mode this year is that defense. T.J. Watt, Devin Bush, that Cameron Hayward, Stephen Tuitt, that defense is going to be absolutely loaded. So they're going to keep them in games, but with a terrible offensive line and a very aging Big Ben. I see the Steelers having a big regression this year. And then finishing 4th, and I really want them to finish a little better, that's the Cincinnati Bengals at 6-11. I like Jared said, super young team. You got T. Higgins, you got Jamar Chase, you got Tyler Boyd, you got Joe Burrow, you got Joe Mixon. Go watch that team if you want to see exciting young offense. If you want to see a great defense, flip the channel, because the Bengals do not play defense. They're the total opposite of the Steelers. The Steelers have a great defense, but I think a poor offense. Bengals are going to have exciting young offense. It's not going to be the best offense, but it's going to be super young and a bad defense. Hopefully, maybe they win a couple more games with Joe Burrow because of maybe the O-line improved. And they really didn't address as much as they should have. But I got the Bengals finishing 6-11. Okay, moving on to the AFC South. Jared, who do you got winning and finishing in the AFC South?
Yeah, so different than the AFC North. I feel like this division is a little weaker. I got coming in at number 1, I got the Titans going 11-6. At number 2, I got the Colts going 6-11. 3, the Jaguars going 3-14, and the Texans going 1-16 at number 4. The Titans, I mean, yes, they're a great team. Added Julio Jones. I just don't see them winning more than 11-12 games this year, just based on their schedule. But yeah, they're going to make the playoffs. They're going to be definitely number 1 in this division. I think it's kind of a lock, just because the depth of this division isn't great. Colts, Carson Wentz probably isn't going to play in the beginning of the year, which is concerning. And even when he does play, who knows if he's going to get hurt again? He's even going to perform. This team is starting to age a little bit on the offensive side with T.Y. Hilton. They got some good young wide receivers. And then their running backs, like Jonathan Taylor, he's good, but I don't see him as like a all-pro caliber back yet, at least. But their offensive line is pretty solid, and their parts of their defense is solid. So I'll give them that, but I don't see them doing really well this year based on their schedule and stuff. 3, I got the Jaguars. Yes, they got Trevor Lawrence. Yes, they got the number 1 pick, maybe the best quarterback prospects we've ever seen. But I just don't see it with this team. The offense still has so many holes. Their offensive line, the wide receivers aren't even that great, to be honest. Like DJ Chark, he's good, but there's for a rookie receiver, a rookie quarterback, like DJ Chark's not like the guy you're really eye opening. And then their defense is awful. So I don't see Trevor Lawrence carrying this team to like the playoffs or even 8 wins this year. Still gonna be a work in progress. And the Texans, for me, this was 1-16 is very drastic record, even when they have Deshaun Watson. But going into the year, I don't know if Deshaun Watson's going to be playing, or when he does, I don't know how long it's going to take. And even we saw it last year, even when he is playing, the team's just not good anymore. He's basically carrying it on his back. So with the concern of Deshaun Watson playing or not, I don't know. I just don't really like the Texans this year, and I kind of have a 1-16, which is kind of a really bad record. So
I like those picks. I'm going to disagree on the Colts, and
yeah, you like the Colts.
I like the Colts more than you do, but that's why it's here in my predictions. Number one, I agree with you though. I got the actually same standings as you do, but different.
Okay, yeah.
I got the number 1 seed. I got the Tennessee Titans at 12-5. I got the 2 seed Indianapolis Colts at a flip record of you at 11-6.
Ooh,
I got the Jacksonville Jaguars at 5-12. And then I do agree with you in the Houston Texans at a nice 1 and beautiful 6.
Oh, you have a 1-16 too?
Yeah.
I didn't know that was mine. Was a little
No, there's something about the Texans.
It's just I'm not liking them this year at all. But yeah.
Nope, they're pretty bad. So you go to the 1 seed, the Titans. I don't think it's a lock to win the division. I do think they're the best team. You have Ryan Tannehill, who's been a great quarterback since he's took over in Tennessee. Derrick Henry, who's arguably the best running back in the league. You have AJ Brown. You have Julio. Enough said. You got the weapons. You got the running back to win games. The problem is I think that keeps the Titans from a playoff team to a Super Bowl team is that defense. That defense is horrible. You had Caleb Farley, you just drafted a rookie out of Virginia Tech, but rookie's a rookie. You're not going to fix it overnight. I really can't name a lot of good defensive players on that team. And I think that team's just not what they used to be on defense. Mike Vrabel, head coach, is a defensive guy. He hasn't had a good defense in a couple years. So what keeps the Titans back from being maybe a Super Bowl team, but still winning the division is that defense. You flip over to the Colts, 11-6. And I like my Indianapolis Colts. They gave my Buffalo Bills a very tough test in the playoffs in the wild card last year. And that's with Philip Rivers. Yes, Carson Wentz, very, very sketchy right there. It's a sketchy situation. There's reports that he's playing week 1. There's also reports that he's not. If he plays with week 1, I think this team's totally different. If he doesn't, then they're gonna have a problem.
But my thing is, like, let's say he does get hurt, like their backups. We were talking about this earlier. Like, I don't know. I don't think they could win.
I do agree. I do think the Colts are an injury away from being in poor, but so are like the Titans with their quarterback. So are a lot of teams. But obviously, Carson Wentz has injury history. But I'm going to go with, I think Carson Wentz has a good year. I think he plays maybe 15 games and has a good, solid year. This team last year made the playoffs with Philip Rivers. And I don't think Carson Wentz is going to be worse than what Philip Rivers was last year if he's fully healthy. You have Jonathan Taylor, who's had a great rookie year, and I think he's going to carry that on. You have T.Y. Hilton. You have some nice weapons. Michael Pittman Jr., who had a nice rookie year. You got some nice weapons. You might have the best offensive line in the league led by Quentin Nelson. They're going to block for you, and they're going to do great. But what's best about this Colts team is that defense. That defense is very good. They were very good last year, the total opposite of the Titans. So I think with a great running game, a great O-line, and a great defense, the Colts will win enough games, and I do think that will be 11 wins. Go to the Jaguars. I agree with you. 5-12. Look, I like Trevor Lawrence, and I think he's going to be the best quarterback in this draft, and I don't think he's going to have a bad year. But the Jaguars offensively are iffy. You have James Robinson and Travis Etienne. That'd be a cool duo to see how they work that out. Who's the third down? Who's the first down? Who's the second down running back? So that'd be cool. You do have Laviska Shenault and DJ Chark. Nice young receivers, but they're not a number one. But the defense is very poor. Obviously, the Jaguars would be a fun, interesting team to watch this year, but they're not going to win enough games. They kind of remind me of the Bengals. Like, they're going to be cool to watch offensively. You're going to want to watch Trevor Lawrence. You're going to want to watch Etienne and Robinson. but you're not going to watch that defense. So the Jaguars are going to lose games because they just can't keep up. And then you get the nice Texans at 1-16. This roster is brutal. At this point, Deshaun Watson's probably not going to play. It's going to be Tyrod Taylor. And yes, Tyrod Taylor's a fine NFL, bottom tier NFL quarterback, but on a really good team. And at this point of his career, he's at the back end of his career, his age, he's meant to be a backup. And if he was starting, he needs to be on a team with a loaded roster. That's the opposite of the Texans. Really don't want to go into this too much. I really don't care. The Texans are going to be 1-16, 2-15, whatever. They're not winning more than 4 games. I got the Texans at 1-16. Okay, Jared, AFC East, who do you got?
So AFC East, my favorite division. At number 1, I got the Bills going 12-5. Number 2, I got the Dolphins going 10-7. At number 3, I got the Jets going 9-8. And I got the Patriots going 6-11. So obviously the Bills, best team in the division, going to make the playoffs again unless some fortunate occurrence happens. But yeah, I have them win 12 games with their schedule. Dolphins, we saw their defense was really good last year. I don't think it's going to be able to be as good as it was last year, hold up the same standards, but it definitely will be a good defense. I'm pretty sure they just signed Xavier Howard long term. So I'm pretty sure, yeah. So, but I do think the offense is going to take steps forward. Me and you both don't like Tua, but they just got Jalen Waddle, Will Fuller, and we were talking they're injury prone, but yet they are all like kind of really good playmakers. So, and especially deep threats, because we know Tua likes to throw it deep and he could run a little bit. So I think Tua will take certain steps forward this year, which will make the offense a little better, which will help, combat the defense maybe regressing a little bit. And then I got the Jets. I looked at their schedule. I think they could win 9 games this year. I know I might be a homer here, but their schedule is not good because of last year. So they're playing bad teams, and I think they could beat most of these bad teams because I think their defense, at least defensive line, their secondary is still in question a little bit with corners, but their defensive line is top 10, I think, in the league. Hopefully Carl Lawson breakout year, because Jets haven't been able to get to the quarterback, and now they have pretty good pass rusher on the team. And I also think adding Corey Davis, drafting Elijah Moore, they have a pretty solid wide receiver core. No one's going to jump off the board to you, but in all, we have 4 or 5 really solid wide receivers. I think Michael Carter, the running back, is going to have a good year. I just think, and their offensive line made much improvements. I think we have a really solid offensive line now, and some of them are young. So I'm happy with this team. And I think they can win 9 games if they play to their potential. And I think Zach Wilson will have a solid year, his first rookie year. And then the Patriots, they're going 6-11. I just don't see it with this team. Their defense is going to be solid, getting everyone back, and hopefully Stephon Gilmore plays. But I just don't see with Cam Newton. Maybe they start Mac Jones halfway through the year, but there's no one on the offense that really scares me. And I know Bill Belichick's a good coach, and I think he's going to be able to get 6 games out of this team. But I just not a fan of this roster, so I don't really see them going anywhere this year.
I like your picks. And the Jets one I'm going to disagree with, but hey, no worries. Number 1, I got my Buffalo Bills finishing at 14-3. At number 2, I do have the Miami Dolphins as well, finishing at a nice 11-6. At 3, I got the New England Patriots finishing 8-9. And then I got the 4 seed, and that's the New York Jets at finishing at 5-12. No, and you're shaking your head. Number 1 seed, Buffalo Bills. I think enough said. They finished 13-3 last year with the top 7 hardest schedule in the NFL. And like Jared said, the schedules for the AFC East teams are much easier this year. So Bills, let's go 14-3, win 1 extra game, lose the same amount. And I think you got MVP candidate Josh Allen. You got one of the best receivers in Stephon Diggs. Hopefully the running game picks up, and hopefully the defense is where it was 2 years ago. Even though they were ranked about 15th in the league this last year, they were more top 5 the year before. They added some nice young pieces. Hopefully the defense is the same. The Bills aren't going anywhere. Great coach. Enough said. Number 2 seed, the Miami Dolphins. Look, I don't like Tua at all. I really don't. And Jared knows. I think I hate him. Not hate him, but I dislike him more than you do. But Their defense is very good. Like you said, they did add weapons. You got Will Fuller, Jalen Waddle, and Devontae Parker. You got Miles Gaskin. You got some nice weapons. Will Tua win you enough games? No, but I think the defense, and they won 10 games last year with a
Yeah,
shaky Tua. And I think Tua will be better than he was last year.
I agree. I agree.
So winning 10 games last year, I think they win one more and they get 11 wins with an easier schedule. I think the defense is still really good. Another year under Tua. I don't think he's a great quarterback, but I think he'll be better than he was year one. 3 seed, my least favorite team in all football. That is the New England Patriots. I've been finishing in 8-9. Why is they win 8 games because of the defense? They lose 9 games because of their offense. Their defense is very good. They're getting a lot of players back. And obviously, you have Bill Belichick, who's still the best NFL head coach in the league. Their defense is going to keep you in games. They're going to do your thing. But their offense is going to be subpar. Okay, running back in Damian Harris. I think he's a nice young running back. He's not a star, but he's a good running back. And don't give me this stuff with I added Nelson Aguilar and Kendrick Bourne as receivers because that scares absolutely no one in the league. And no one's going to be scared of Nelson Aguilar and Kendrick Bourne running back at you. Nicole Harry's an absolute mess. The wide receiver core is brutal. But then you add Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry, you make 2 of the highest paid tight ends in the league. Hunter Henry, injury prone. That's a problem. And Jonnu Smith didn't have over 500 yards receiving last year. I know tight ends not all receiving, but they're not going to change the game. And this is not 20 years ago when you run a 2 tight end set. Like this is just not how the NFL works.
It's not Gronkowski and Hernandez.
No, it's not Gronk and Hernandez. This is not that Henry and Smith are going to be nice ads. They're going to be their 2 best weapons. That's not saying anything, but they're not bad. And then who's starting at quarterback? You have Mac Jones, who I'm not high on. But even if he's still going to be good, it's a rookie. And rookies go through growing pains, and it's hard to win games with rookie. And when was the last time a rookie quarterback made the playoffs? I don't really remember in this first year. Doesn't really happen a lot in the NFL. So rookie quarterbacks go through growing pains. And then if you start Cam Newton, he can't throw the ball. Like his throwing ability has depleted, and I think their quarterback situation is a mess. Even though Mac Jones could be good down the line, it's just not this year, and the Patriots win 8 games and lose 9. JR, I'm sorry. I'm going to put the Jets at 5-12. Maybe I'm being a little too harsh. I might be a little too harsh. I just got what I saw. And you obviously know more about the Jets than I do. But I just don't see it coming together for the Jets. I like their defensive line. I really do. I like Carl Lawson and Quentin Williams. I think they're going to get after their quarterback, and I think they do a great job stopping the run. But like you noted, and you did say this, their defensive backs and their Marcus May is great. That's not the problem. But guarding people is going to be an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, I know.
Jets are going to have to win games scoring a lot.
Well, I'm thinking because the D line is going to be so good that it's going to help out the young corners.
Yes, it's going to help, but I still don't think you don't have like a legit corner out there.
No,
that's going to scare Stephon Diggs, DeAndre Hopkins. You get the gist. And then you're going to throw out a rookie quarterback. And I think if Zach Wilson's going to be good, and we don't know if any of these rookie quarterbacks are good, you can say they're all going to be good, all going to be bad. We have any idea? No. But you're going to put a rookie quarterback who's going to be starting his first game in the NFL and is going to be having some growing pains. And I think that's totally fine. And I think for the Jets this year, they want to see if Zach Wilson's going to be the future and take steps from game 1 to game 17. I do like the running game, Michael Carter, but he's an unproven running back as well. So you got an unproven quarterback and an unproven running back. You got an unproven wide receiver in Elijah Moore, who I like, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And Denzel Mims, who's still young. But you have Corey Davis and Jamison Crowder and Keenan Cole. And I think the Jets' offense is going to be much better than in years past. I think they're going to take the next step. But I think their secondary, a new head coach, a new quarterback, and a new running back, it's just too much to deal with in year 1. I got the Jets finishing at 5-12, but an exciting game where they're in a lot of games. I think this would be a better 5-12 team. I think you're going to look at the Jets and be like, they're better than their record. It's just they got beat by teams that were more experienced.
All right, I'd live with that. I'll live with that.
Final division in the AFC, and that is going to be the AFC West. What do you got?
So for the AFC West, familiar face. Number 1, I got the Chiefs going 14-3. Number 2, I got the Chargers going 11-6. 3, I got the Raiders going 7-10, and then 4, I got the Broncos going 3-14. For the Chiefs, I don't really have to explain too much. I hope not. 14-3. They're the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes, Kelsey, Tyreek, Andy Reid. They're gonna win this division. It'll be a damn shock if they don't. Like it's gonna be really big news if they don't. So yeah, they're going to the playoffs. Chargers, I think they're going to take big steps. New head coach, Herbert, I think is going to take big steps forward this year. I like their offense a lot. Defense, it's not the best, but I think it'll get the job done. And I think, like I said, Herbert's going to really take those steps because their roster is good. I think their offensive roster is really good. So I have them going 11-6. Raiders 7-10. Raiders really no one on the roster, like this whole roster in general, doesn't really jump off the board. They're not flashy, but they do win games. And last year, it's very shocked. I thought they were going to be horrible last year. They were actually contending for the playoffs up until a point. So Derek Carr, I think John Gruden knows how to coach a team. So I think they'll scrape away 7 wins here. But yes, there's no one on this team that's going to really elevate them to playoff standards. And then for number 4, the Broncos, they're still a young team. The QB areas in question. But yeah, like I said, they're still a young team. They're going to learn this year. And the talent there isn't good enough to win many games this year, in my opinion. So, I have them going 3-14. Yeah, so they're going to be at the bottom of that division.
I like your picks. I got the same exact order with a little bit of a different record. I got the Kansas City Chiefs finishing at 1 with 14-3. I got the LA Chargers finishing 10-7. Then I got the Raiders finishing 3rd at 7-10. And then I got the Broncos finishing 4th, but lose out on a tiebreaker finishing 7-10 as well. Number 1, Kansas City Chiefs. I'm not going to really talk about this right now. 14-3, best quarterback in the league. Great weapons, great running game, good defense, great head coach. Number 2, Los Angeles Chargers finishing at 10-7. I like this team. Justin Herbert had a great and unexpected rookie year. Brandon Staley, the new head coach, I would really like him from the crosstown rival in the Rams. You have Austin Eckler, good running back. You got Mike Williams on the outside. You got Keenan Allen, who's a bona fide number 1 NFL receiver. The defense does scare me a little. Derwin James is coming back. Hopefully he is healthy, but I do think their defense will be better because you're going to have a coach with Brandon Staley, and Anthony Lynn was terrible for last year for the Chargers, and they won a lot of games where the games they probably should have won. They didn't because of coaching. So Chargers are going to win more games this year because I think they take a step in the direction, with the coaching, and Justin Herbert takes another step. Number 3, I got the Las Vegas Raiders. I agree with you. Nothing really kind of glares on me on this roster. You have Derek Carr, who I think is a competent, like a top 15 quarterback, but he's not going to make the biggest plays. I like Josh Jacobs. I really do. Receivers, hopefully Henry Ruggs can kind of come off that shaky rookie.
Step up. My thing with him, I'm thinking he's going to be like the new John Ross, which is not good,
Scares me. And then that defense is okay. They reached on Alex Leatherwood in the first round, so at least that will help the tackle if he plays well. But the Raiders don't really jump out at me as a roster. They're going to be in a tough division where I think the Chargers and the Chiefs are better, but at least they'll have a really cool stadium. Number 4, you got the Denver Broncos, 7-10. I might be a little generous on the 7 wins, but I don't mind this team. Look, I think Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater are not good quarterback options, but I like Javonte Williams and I like Melvin Gordon in the backfield. I like Cortland Sutton and I like Jerry Jeudy. So I think you get the weapons and I think you have fine running backs. And I do think you have a defense. You got Justin Simmons, you got Kyle Fuller, you have Patrick Surtain, you got Von Miller, you got Bradley Chubb. I think this defense is going to be top 10 in the league, and I think that is why they're going to win 7 games, and I think their offense is going to hold them back. So I think they'll be a little better than maybe people because of their defense.
I think their defense, yes. I don't think it's going to be top 10. I think it's just going to be too young right now.
You think
that's my thing with that's my thing with the defense, yeah.
That's totally fair.
Yeah, it's just my
opinion. I do think what will hurt them, unless Drew Lock takes a step, if Drew Lock just somehow
if he just
quarterback, will be wrong. And that's a lot of these predictions. If a lot of these quarterbacks take a giant step, and it's going to happen. You're going to see one of these predictions be totally wrong because there's going to be one quarterback like Josh Allen last year go from a middle of the tier quarterback, which Josh Allen was, to an MVP quarterback. It always happens. So who is it going to be this year? I don't know. Okay, comment down below what you think of our AFC predictions. Hopefully you guys stay along for this long as we move it on to the NFC. JR, give us your start with the NFC North.
So for the NFC North, I'm number one. I'm gonna pick the Green Bay Packers going 12-5. Number two, I got the Vikings going 11-6. Number three, I got the Bears going 6-11. And at number four, I got the Lions going 3-14. For the Packers, they went to the conference championship last year. I don't think there's too much to say here. But Aaron Rodgers, I know there's been debate if he wants to be on the team or not, if he wants to get traded, but he's playing. And when he's playing, he's an MVP like last year. He's got Devontae Adams on that offense, and then Aaron Jones as a running back. I don't know. I think Aaron Rodgers elevates his Packers offense to top 5 in the league. He's that good. And I don't see the Vikings. Vikings definitely going to be up there, but I just see the Packers being better than them this year. And I see them winning the division here. At number two, I got the Vikings. Kirk Cousins. That team, the offense is good. Justin Jefferson, Thielen, Dalvin Cook, and Kirk Cousins. So that's a good offense. 11-6 is really good. The defense is pretty solid. You know, nothing too shabby there. Have them going 11-6, and then the Bears 6-11. I just don't like the Bears really. Was never a big Bears guy. Their defense really good. Defense is definitely top in the league, and then their offense that's where the question marks. Is Justin Fields, like Pete just said, if quarterbacks? I know he's still a rookie, but if quarterbacks, take that step. If Justin Fields starts balling out, maybe I'm wrong and they win more games. But I believe like Andy Dalton's probably going to be the starter. Yeah, if I'm not wrong. So I don't think Andy Dalton's going to elevate that team to, a top offense or even just a manageable offense. I feel like they're going to turn the ball over a lot, which is going to kill the defense. So I just don't see them winning more than 6 games. And then the Lions, I don't like the Lions. I'm sorry, Lions fans. Like that Jared Goff, I don't think he's going to do well. He was a good quarterback for the Rams system and a really good offense. And now that he's on a bad team, not a really good offense, I just don't see it. Don't see him doing or thriving in Detroit. Defense isn't really good. All around, I just don't like this Lions team. So I got them going 3-14.
I like your picks. I think NFC North is going to be a really interesting division. At number one, I got the Green Bay Packers finishing at 14-3. I got the Chicago Bears finishing second at 8-9. I got the Minnesota Vikings finishing third at 6-11. Then I got the nice Detroit Lions finishing at a nice whopping 1-16. So that's not good. We'll start with the Green Bay Packers. I don't want to go really into depth. You have Aaron Jones, you have Devontae Adams, you have Aaron Rodgers. If Aaron Rodgers is playing, you're winning the division. Enough said. Chicago Bears are number 2. This is when Jared and I disagree. I have him 8-9. Is it going to be Andy Dalton? Is it going to be Justin Fields? And Jared knows I'm a little higher on Justin Fields than most. And obviously, he's going to go through rookie pains. I think he's going to have a pretty good rookie year. I do like their weapons. You have Allen Robinson on the outside, and you have David Montgomery as running game. So you got a good number 1. You got a good NFL running back. You also
my thing is they've had Allen Robinson. They've still,
but they've also had Mitchell Trubisky.
That's true. But they have Andy Dalton,
I'm not saying Andy Dalton's it. I'm saying it's and Justin Fields. And I'm not saying the Bears are world beaters. I got them being under 500.
Yeah, I know. I
have them going 8-9. I haven't been actually – they made the playoffs last year. I'm actually being them worse than they were last year.
Okay, yeah.
So I just think their defense is going to keep them in games like last year. I think it's going to be the same thing as every Chicago Bear team. But if Justin Fields has a great rookie year, it's going to change the narrative. But at this point, I don't think. I think Chicago Bears are that team, not this year, next year, that could surprise a lot of people. Number 3, I got the Minnesota Vikings finishing 6-11. This might be a little bit of a bold pick because last year I had them winning the division. So that went absolutely horribly wrong. And this year, hopefully I'm not wrong on this one. I have him 6-11. I like Kirk Cousins. I don't love Kirk Cousins. I do love Justin Jefferson. And I do think Adam Thielen is getting older, but I still love him. Dalvin Cook, when healthy, is a great running back. But that defense is very, very iffy. They weren't good last year on defense. And I also read they weren't good on special teams. Not a Mike Zimmer guy. And I don't think Kirk Cousins can win enough games. And I think against a team like the Packers and a great Chicago Bears defense, the Minnesota Vikings are going to have a very inconsistent year and then go bye-bye Kirk Cousins and bye-bye Mike Zimmer. Number 4, the Detroit Lions at 1-16. Yeah, they stink. You have Jared Goff, who is a fine, competent quarterback on a very good team, but he's on a very bad team. You have DeAndre Swift, who I think is going to be a very good NFL running back. I really do. But their number 1 receiver is Tyrell Williams. So yeah, you got Tyler Williams, you got Penny Sewell as a tackle, but that's about it. Their defense is like Swiss cheese. You got Dan Campbell, who's coming in with drinking 2 big Starbucks coffees every day with espresso shots. If you didn't see that press conference, go look it up. It's hilarious. He's gonna eat your kneecaps or whatever the heck he said. But he's gonna do that. They're gonna be fired up for any games. Protect their kneecaps. But besides that, they're going to lose a lot of games. They're going to be 1-16. I think they're just not good. And when your number 1 receiver is Tyrell Williams, I feel sorry for him. Okay. Moving on to the NFC South. Jared, what do we got in the NFC South? And do you have the Buccaneers, former Super Champions, repeating as the division winner?
So for the NFC South, I do have the Buccaneers repeating. I got them number 1 at 13-4. Number 2, I got the Saints at 8-9. Number 3, I got the Panthers at 6-11. And at number 4, I got the Falcons at 4-11. For the Bucs, I shouldn't have to do too much explaining. I mean, they got Brady. Say what you want about Brady, he wins you games. He comes there and he wins games, and he's going to do it again this year. The team really hasn't changed. Overall, the roster hasn't changed much. I'm pretty sure it's basically the same roster as last year, and that's a good roster. So 13-4 for them. For the Saints, it's that QB that's really, giving me trouble with Jameis or Taysom Hill. I just don't see one of them as being the everyday starter for the Saints. It's just like a tricky situation for me. I know they got Kamara, Michael Thomas. I don't know when he's going to start playing, maybe around week 4. If you want, I don't know, rumors are saying, I don't even know if he's going to be on the Saints. I'm assuming he is, but, stuff could blow out of proportion. And the defense is good. I like the defense. Lattimore, Cameron Jordan. So I like the defense. It just, the team just kind of not mediocre. They're above mediocre, but I just feel like they're going to fall off a little bit this year. Panthers, I like the Panthers this year. I wouldn't be surprised if they win more than 6 games. It's not because he's Darnold. I just think Joe Brady, really good offensive coordinator. And I think I saw what he did last year with that team, and they weren't even that skilled on offense. And adding Darnold, you get Christian McCaffrey back. I like this offense. The defense, definitely something concerns me, but that offense, I think, win you 6 games. I think Joe Brady could get it done, and I think Darnold's going to excel this year. Not excel, but definitely show that what he was or should have been. Jets didn't do him right. And then at number 4, I got the Falcons. Lost Julio. They got Calvin Ridley, Kyle Pitts, and Matt Ryan's still a very good quarterback. He's top 15, me and Pete's rankings. But yeah, it's that defense for me, and just Falcons just never do it. You always think they're going to do more than they do. So I'm not going to expect much out of them. I have them going 4-13, but I bet you, Pete, you probably have them going better. Yeah, I'm not high on Calvin Ridley. That's a big reason for me. I think he was not overshadowed, but pressure was taken off him because of Julio, and now he's the star receiver on the team. I just don't think he's a really good receiver, don't get me wrong. I just don't think people think he's better than he is in my mind. I got him going 4-13.
I like your picks. I got the number 1 as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, finishing at 15-2, which will be the best record in the NFL. If go up and down my division picks. Number 2, I got the Carolina Panthers finishing 7-10, and then I got the Saints finishing at 4-13, and then I got the Atlanta Falcons. Jay, you said they'd be better. I think they'll be worse than when you said 3.
Oh wow. Okay, I thought you would, because I know you're a big Ridley guy, so I don't know.
I'm not a big. I think he's really good. I just think the roster stinks. So I don't think it's a Ridley problem. Even though he might not have as good as a year, I think it's the roster. But I'll get into that in a second. Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 1. They're bringing back the same exact 22-man starting lineup, 15-2. I'm done with that. Number 2, Carolina Panthers, 7-10. Like you said, Jared, I like this team. And I liked this team last year. I'm not saying they're gonna like when I say I like this team, I think they're gonna be an interesting team.
Yeah.
7-10 is not a good record, obviously, but I think Sam Darnold will be much better in the system because, like you said, the Jets did absolutely nothing for him, which is kind of sad, even though he didn't do a lot for them either. But it goes both ways. You're bringing back Christian McCaffrey, who's the number one running back when healthy in this league. You also have weapons on the outside in DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson. So you got an offense. This is the best offense Darnold's ever played with, and it's not even close.
Yeah.
Go to the defense. This is when it gets a little interesting. You have Derek Brown and you have Brian Burns on the D line. I like that. And I like JC Horn in the back in the secondary, but he's a rookie. So rookie corners are very up and down. It's just time and time because they're not used to the speed. It depends who he's guard. If he's going to have to guard number one corners, it's going to be a tough day. I do like the Panthers as a cool team to watch. They're not going to win a ton of games. And they'd be a cool, interesting team. Saints, Jared, 4-13. Like, what is their quarterback situation right now? Are we going to have a stop? Are we going to have like a trickster quarterback for 17 games in Taysom Hill? Because that's going to drive people crazy. I think it's going to be Jameis Winston. And I hopefully for Jameis, because I always liked Jameis. I never hated Jameis. Hopefully he doesn't turn the ball over and does his things. Hopefully Michael Thomas starts being a pain in you know what and plays some football games. Alvin Kamara's a top 5 running back. This defense, JR, not loving it. You have Marshawn Lattimore, still a good corner. Cameron Jordan can get after the quarterback, but this might be Sean Payton's worst team as a New Orleans Saint head coach. Atlanta Falcons 3-14. I think Matt Ryan's regressing actually, even though he's still a top 15 quarterback in the league. I don't like the run game. I don't think Mike Davis is bad, but he's not an RB1 in my opinion. And there's not a lot of RB1s in general in the league, but just the Falcons don't have one. Outside of Calvin Ridley, they really don't have any. So I think Calvin Ridley is not going to have a bad year in the sense of like talent-wise, but his stats might not be as good as you're used to because he'll be focused more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. I don't think he's a bad receiver.
I didn't say that. I just
like fantasy value.
I don't think he's a star receiver. That's my opinion.
That's fair. But I do like Kyle Pitts. So at least Kyle Pitts will take some stuff off him. So I think he's going to have a great year. The defense is absolutely horrible. So I think this is going to be another tough year for Atlanta. New head coach, Arthur Smith, going to be growing pains. So I don't see Atlanta doing much this year. Okay. JR, NFC East. Who do you have winning this very interesting division?
Yeah, so I feel like this is like a close-knit division. No one's really good. No one's like terribly bad to me. Number 1, I got the Washington football team winning the division, going 10-7. Number 2, I got the New York Giants going 8-9. The Jets will have the best record between the Giants and I know you're a Bills fan, but they're the Kings of New York. And then number 3, Cowboys going 7-10. And then at number 4, I got the Eagles going 5-12. Washington football team defense, one of the best in the leagues. And I think it's going to stay that way this year. And then the offense end, we were talking about this today, actually. I think they improved with getting Ryan Fitzpatrick. I think his first year with the team, it's shown it's kind of not a coincidence. He does really good. And he could pass the ball. He could throw that ball. So sometimes he turns it over a lot. However, the defense, I think, will make up for that. And I think he'll have a really solid year on this team. You got Antonio. Is it Antonio Williams? Not Antoine, right?
Antonio Gibson.
Gibson, my bad. Antonio Gibson. You got Terry McLaurin. I like Terry a lot. And I think pairing him up with a QB who loves, hucking the ball, it's going to help him out a lot. So I like this team. I think they're the best in the division. And then you got the Giants. The offense concerns me. I know they got Galladay. They're getting Saquon back. But I just don't like Daniel Jones. It's not because I don't like the Giants. It's just I feel like he still reminds me of a rookie. And he's going into his 3rd year. And that's just not a good thing. He just looks like an average Joe, So I'm not a fan of that offense. I know the defense played really well last year. I don't think they're going to play the same standard as last year. I know Leonard Williams had a career year. I don't think that's going to happen again. I do like James Bradbury, but I just don't think that defense is going to play the same way as they did last year. And then you got the Cowboys. Dak's back, but I'm not a huge Dak guy. Coming off this injury, it's going to be concerning, and I'm hoping Dak will become back to what he was. But I was never even a fan of him when he was healthy. I think the offensive line struggling. The defense, it's really, hopefully they get better, but I think that's struggling too. It's going to be hard for them. Hopefully Dak doesn't get sacked a lot with that offensive line, but I'm not a big Cowboys guy. I don't think people are thinking Dak's going to take him to the promised land. I don't think so. At a number 4, I know you were kind of really down on the Eagles. I got the Eagles, 5-12. I'm not a Jalen Hurts hater. I don't hate him. I haven't seen enough of him, but there's some bright spots. I like Hurts and Sanders, that pairing. Their defensive line, it's decent. It's actually pretty solid. But yeah, they're a 5-12 team. There's holes in the defense. There's holes on the offense. I don't see them competing for this division. I see it more the Cowboys, Giants, and Washington competing, and then the Eagles just down there, like their little brother.
Dang, you call it Eagles the little brother. Eagles fans not gonna like that. So Eagles fans, comment section. NFC East, I think it's a very interesting division. I got the Dallas Cowboys finishing first at 10-7. I got the New York Giants finishing at second at 9-8, and then I got the Washington football team at 9-8. But
you just flipped my top 3.
Kind of, yeah, you're right. Washington team finishing 9-8 with just a tiebreaker difference. And then the Philadelphia Eagles are at 2-15.
Ooh. I know you didn't like the Eagles.
No, there's something about them. I'll tell you why in a second. One, Dallas Cowboys. Is their defense good? No. But can it be as bad as last year? Probably not. So I think that will help them this year. And you know who's coming back? Mr. Jarrett's favorite quarterback, and that is Dak Prescott. You got Ezekiel Elliott, who I think will have a better year than he did last year because you actually have the threat of a passing game instead of Ben DiNucci playing quarterback. And I think Dak Prescott actually kind of silences the doubters and has a very good year. Jerry, you got weapons. You got Michael Gallup, you got CeeDee Lamb, and you got Amari.
He's had weapons. I know he hasn't had CD, but I mean.
But I think it's going to be a fully healthy year with a good O-line, a good run game, and I think Cowboys are 10-7 in a division that I don't care about. Number 2.
You think they have a good O-line?
I think they still have a top 10, 12 O-line. No?
I mean, I just like Zach Martin.
I like Tyrell Smith.
I feel like it fell apart. He gets hurt a lot, though.
Is it Tyrell Smith?
Tyrell Smith, I think.
Yeah. Who's their center? Forgot their center.
He's retired. Frederick, isn't he?
I don't know. Whatever. Okay. Number 2, we got the New York Giants at 9-8. I'm a little higher on the New York Giants than you. And 9-8 is not like thinking they're not world beaters, but I do think Daniel Jones will take another little bit of a step. Will he ever be a great NFL quarterback? No. Will he be a fine? Probably. Saquon Barkley's coming back, and I think that's going to be very exciting if he's going to be healthy. And I'm betting on him being healthy. This kind of relies on Saquon Barkley not being injured. Because if he's injured, then don't count these predictions. And then I got Kenny Golladay on the outside, who they kind of added as a receiver, and I like that. You also have Sterling Shepard, Josh. So I think they got the weapons, and I like their defense. Leonard Williams had a great year last year. I don't think he's going to have the same year, but I think he's going to be a great run stopper. You got Azeez Ojulari. They just drafted in the first round on the outside, actually the second round. I think their O-line will be better than it was last year. I think Andrew Thomas will have a bounce back here. And then I got a good secondary in James Bradbury, Logan Ryan, and they got a great linebacker in Blake Martinez. And I think a really good NFL head coach in Joe Judge. I got the Giants going 9-8, and I think this division is just a bunch of average teams. And I think there's a couple of teams that are going to be better than just because they beat up on teams. Number 3, Washington football team, and this pains me to say this, at 9-8. I love Ron Rivera, and I love Ryan Fitzpatrick. I just don't see them doing what they did last year. I think Antonio Gibson, not Antonio Williams, from a current Buffalo Bills running back. So go check out that interview if you haven't seen it. Way back. Antonio Gibson's really good. And I like Terry McLaurin. They also had a Curtis Samuel, which you forgot to mention, which is a good weapon. Their defense is going to be really good again. Just something about Washington that I feel like they're one of the teams that, you don't know what they're going to be. I feel like they could win 5 games or 12 games. You know what I mean? If that
Okay.
makes any
Yeah.
sense.
No, that makes
I
sense.
feel like that's any of those three teams in the division. I think Cowboys, Giants, and football team. Oh, I say
Mhm.
football team. I think it could be any of those three.
Yeah, I agree. I think those three are going to be fighting for it. The only thing that draws me to Washington is that defense is the only consistent part of any of those teams that I
I think the
can
Giants
latch
have.
on to. I think the Washington's 10 times better than, like, that's
You
just
think
my
Wash-
personal thing.
Okay,
Yeah. So
but I
that's
do.
that's what's drawing me toward, like, I could say what firm, like I could believe that no matter what, I think the Washington football team's defense is going to be top 10 at least. So that's with all certainty. So, like, that's for me, that's why it draws me to them.
No, I understand that. I just think like there's teams that have different flaws, and it's just a bunch of average
Yeah.
teams in my opinion. And then fourth, the Philadelphia Eagles, 2-15. I loved Jalen Hurts in college. I absolutely loved him. I do not like him in the NFL. Never thought he'd be an NFL quarterback, and I don't think he will be an NFL quarterback. No weapons. Your best receiver is Jalen Reagor. They're not really scaring anybody. I like Miles Sanders, but besides that, not really great offensive weapons. Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham are still really good. Darius Slay still very good, but their defense is just not great. And I think their coach from the Colts is not going to be Nick Sirianni. Is not going to be anything special. So I got the Eagles at 2-15. JR, let's round this one out. I know it's been a long video, guys. Thank you for staying with us. NFC West, round it out.
So for the NFC West, at number one, I got the Seattle Seahawks going 13-4. At number two, I got the Rams going 13-4 also. Number three, I got the Cardinals going 12-5. And at number four, I got the 49ers going 9-8. So yeah, I believe this is the best division in the NFC. Really good division. Seahawks, I went through their schedule, and I think they could win 13 games. I think Jalen Adams on that defense, and I think that defense in general is going to take major steps forward. I think Russell Wilson, he's been carrying that load on offense. He's got DK, you got Tyler Lockett, Chris Carson. So I think their offense will be similar to what we've seen, but I just think that defense is going to take major steps. I think Jalen Adams is going to take bigger steps. It's Jalen Adams, right? I just
Jamal
blanked.
Adams.
Jamal. Oh my god. Yeah, because I knew I was like saying it wrong when I was saying it. I haven't said his name in a while. So yeah, my bad, Jamal. But yeah, I think Jamal Adams is going to take bigger steps. I know him. He works. I don't know him, but I know he's a hard worker. I know he's going to take this offseason to heart. And then at number two, Stafford, 13-4. I'm at the Rams 13-4. I think Stafford really is going to elevate this team. He's an elite quarterback, I think. And they've had Goff. They had a big success with Goff, but if you're implementing an elite quarterback into this offense with Sean McVay, I think it's going to take big steps forward. Defense, you got Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald, two top 5, top 10 defensive players in the league. So all around, the Rams, really solid team. Have them making the playoffs. Number three, Cardinals. I think Kyler Murray is going to take steps forward. Also, they got AJ Green, which I think is an underrated signing. I know people are saying he's washed. They're done. He's going to get injured. But I'm pairing him with like a DeAndre Hopkins, where basically he's not going to be, no one's going to be looking at him on the defensive side as much as he used to. He can still go up and make a play. I think DeAndre and AJ are still two of the best at just, going up, making a play, throwing it up to them. So it's going to help Kyler a lot. And then the defense, I think the defense, it's okay. It's good enough for that team. I just think, I don't know, they were good last year. I think they're gonna, as a core collective group, I think they're gonna get better. And then the 49ers, this is where it gets, they're a really good defensive team, really good overall team, well coached. It's just, we were talking like Jimmy G, he just isn't it for me. He's a good quarterback. Like, he's the definition of just, like a good quarterback. I don't know if they're going to start Trey Lance at all this year, or they're just going to set him the whole year. But I just think the Rams, Cardinals, and Seahawks are just better than the 49ers this year. And I mean, 9-8 for the 49ers as a fourth in the division's, pretty really solid. But I just don't, see them getting 10, 11 wins this year with their schedule.
I like your picks. And whatever Jared just went through in that beginning of that little segment is what happens when you record at 9:49 at night and you have more stuff to record after and you've been recording for 45, 50 minutes. So
Yeah, 'cause I was saying, and I'm like, Jalen Adam, I'm like, wait, that's just not right. But I just kept going with it, and I'm finally like, no, that's not right.
it's all good, guys. This is what happens when you record and talk for a while. And we're not done talking because we got more stuff to record after this that you guys will thankfully see. So we do this for your guys' pleasure. And if Jamal Adams is watching and listening, sorry, Jared messed your
Hey,
name.
I have your jersey, so
So DM us if you're listening. NFC West, I got the LA Rams finishing at 12-5 as number 1. 2, I got the Seattle Seahawks finishing as well as 12-5. And then I got the San Francisco 49ers finishing 3rd as well as 12-5. Somehow that happened. This is all not me making these numbers up. I did this predictions each game. So they got 12-5, 12-5, and 12-5. And then I got the 4 Arizona Cardinals at 7-10. Yeah, I don't think 4 teams can finish 12-5, and I don't think that's just not how that division works. Going to the LA Rams, Jay, like you said, they were a playoff team last year with Jared Goff. They're going to be a Super Bowl contender this year with Matthew Stafford.
Agreed.
Now, Matthew Stafford, you don't have Cam Akers this year, which is disappointing because I think he had a pretty solid rookie year, and I wanted to see what he could do in year 2. But you have Darrell Henderson. You have a pretty good O-line, and then you got weapons in Kupp and Woods. Great coach in Sean McVay. You need football to that defense, one of the best defense in the league. You have Aaron Donald, who's the best at his position and the best player in the NFL. And then you got Jalen Ramsey, who's just going to be an absolute monster on the outside. So you got two best defensive players probably in the NFL right there. So I got the Rams finishing at 12-5 at the 1 seed. Seattle Seahawks, 12-5. I think I was really high on the Seahawks last year. I like what they have in Lockett, Metcalf, and Carson, and I love Russell Wilson, and I love Pete Carroll. Defense, hopefully Jamal Adams will be better in coverage this year. He was great at tackling, great at getting after the quarterback. Hopefully be better in coverage. Last year, they were really good with a really bad defense. I think their defense will be better this year. They got to get after the quarterback. If they can get after the quarterback, they'll be much better. If they don't, they're going to struggle. I think they'll be better, and I think that will get them to 12-5, mainly because of that offense. 49ers, 3rd seed, 12-5. Jared, this is a very risky pick. If Jimmy G stays healthy for the full year and he plays the full year, they'll be fine. If he doesn't, and you bring in Trey Lance, I think it'll be an iffy year. I like Trey Lance, and I think he could be a fine NFL quarterback. But you know what happens with rookie quarterbacks. It's totally up and down. But what will help out Jimmy G or Trey Lance is that you have Raheem Mostert, Trey Sermon, nice young running backs. You also have Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk and a great play caller. So you got the offense. Obviously, you lost Robert Saleh, but you're still bringing back a pretty good defense. That includes Nick Bosa and some really good guys that get after the quarterback. So if Nick Bosa stays healthy, he'll be the anchor of the defense. I think we see a 49ers team like we saw 2 years ago, like that Super Bowl team, that's not as good, but I think 12-5. And then I got the Cardinals at 7-10. Kyler Murray, I think he's going to have a great year, Jared. I really do. But you saw how he kind of fell off at the end of the year because he got hit too many times. They keep getting after him. The O-line's not good. I don't love Chase Edmonds. I really don't.
Yeah.
I like AJ Green. I think he's good. Obviously, DeAndre Hopkins is DeAndre Hopkins. I think AJ Green's fine. But I don't love Kyler Murray always running and getting hit. And I hate Cliff Kingsbury. I think he's a horrible NFL head coach. I think he's a horrible play caller. I think he puts Kyler Murray in such bad opportunities. I think Kyler Murray's great. I think the play calling and the surrounding is not as good as it should be. Defense, if you added J.J. Watt, but what is he at this point of his career? He always gets injured. You still have Chandler Jones, but he came off an injured year, but 2 years ago had 19 sacks. You have Budda Baker's safety, but your corners are basically Swiss cheese. They're going to struggle guarding people, and they're also going to struggle at stopping the run from the linebacker positions because all they have is really Isaiah Simmons and Jordan Hicks, but Jordan Hicks has a huge contract dispute right now. And Isaiah Simmons came off an up and down rookie year. I think with a held back running game, Kyler Murray getting hit too many times, and Cliff Kingsbury not being great. I think the Cardinals see the end of the Cliff Kingsbury era, and they go 7-10, and that is it for the Arizona Cardinals. So, guys, make sure you guys drop a comment if you like our NFC West predictions as well as the NFC division predictions. Wow. And their AFC division predictions. We hope you guys enjoyed the video. Jared, anything else you got to say before we say goodbye?
Yeah, thank you. As soon as we post this, probably come in the next week or so, we're gonna be posting more NFL content. So stay with us on the Instagram, the Twitter, the YouTube. NFL season's around the corner. We'll be, posting NFL content. So if you love the NFL, want to hear our picks or, predictions, follow us.
Yeah, guys. Drop a comment, like the video, do your thing. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram. Link will be in the description. Guys, NFL content's rolling out fast, so stay tuned. Put the post notifications on for YouTube so you guys know every time we post a YouTube video. I know it hasn't been in a while because of the NBA, but we are kind of in a lull of when to post stuff. Guys, until next time, this was the Talking Sports Podcast with Peter DiBiasi and John Rocco Trumpbour. Have a good night.